Is it visible, everybody? My screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, in last lecture we just started with the loops, right? So we have seen the while loop and do while loop. So that last loop, this for loop, we'll see today. Uh, we have seen the syntax of while loop and do while loop. Also, we have seen that the one or two differences between the while and do while loop. Right? Now, see, this for loop is the alternative for the while loop actually, but this for loop is widely used in the all programming languages you can see. So that Python programming also, if you see, so their while loop is also widely used. And this is in C programming, it's very simple loop because everything is written in one line. So if you see this, that the main purpose of this for loop is again same for the repetition. We use this for loop, same as the while loop, and the whatever is the working of this for loop, again it is very similar to the while loop, because in while loop we have seen first statement was the initialization statement, second was the condition, and third last was the means initialization condition, then body of loop, and then last statement would be increment. So this was the flow we have seen in the while loop. That same flow here also in for loop. Only the all these statements we have written in one line. If you see here, that for is the keyword, we know. Then here we have written three statements, and all these three statements we have written in one line, and these three statements separated with the semicolon. So here this one is the initial value. So this is the initialization we can say, and this executes only once. In while loop also that initialization was executing single time. Then this condition we test, we can say n plus 1 times. If your last the value is n, then this condition will be executed n plus 1 time. So why it is n plus 1 time? Because this condition is true for the n times, and again we check that condition for the last, like for the false, again we check this condition, right? It means that a loop is true for n times, and this condition will be executed for n plus 1 time, right? And the third statement is again here. This third statement is the increment or decrement. So when this increment or decrement will be executed, after just executing this block of for loop, after this increment and decrement will be executed. If you see here in while loop, see what we have seen here. This was the initialization, then this condition, then block of the statements of this while loop, and last statement in this it was increment or decrement. That same working would be here also in for loop. If you see here, initialization execute initially, and that will execute only once. This condition will execute n plus 1 times if that n is the value, termination value. So this condition will be executed for n plus 1 times, and this statement increment or decrement will be executed after this block of statements. It means this would be the last statement in this body of for loop, we can say. So you need to understand this. Even though we have written in one line, but this statement is executing at the end of your block of statements. Getting this? And the rest working is same as we have seen in the while loop, right? So one example just I'll tell you so that you will understand this one. That same, this is the same syntax. Sorry. One example that I'll just take here. Now see, this is the header file, and I'll just write this. Okay, now see, suppose first I'll just initialize this variable, and again let's use this for statement I equals to 0. This is the initialization. You can put that condition I is less than, or you can put the equals to, but I'll just put this less than 11, or I'll put this 10, and then I plus plus, right? And if you see here, printf %d and I, right? Oh, okay, this will be printed in one line, it's fine. Now see, this is the simple example to print that numbers from 0 to 9, right? So working is what? First it will initialize this I, and here I is 0, so it will check this condition. If this condition is true, so it will print this one, and then after printing this I will be incremented by 1, so I becomes 1, 0 plus 1, that is 1. Then again it will check this I value with this condition, so again it is true, so again it will come here, and here it will print that I value, it means 1. And after this again it will increment by 1, and it will again check and again print. So this will be continued till 9, right? Suppose here that I value is 9, right? So for the 9 it will check this condition, so is that 9 is less than 10, so this is true, again it will come here, right? It will print that 9, and after just printing this, that I value becomes 10. Getting this? Now after this 10, it means this loop is executed 10 times. 10 means how? 0 to 9. So it is considered that 0 as a one iteration. So 0 to 9, that count is 10. Now for the next 11 time, we are again checking here, so that 10 is not less than 10. So that's why this becomes false, and this will exit from this loop. Now here you see, this will be executed how many times? This loop we can say will executed, sorry, 10 plus 1 time. It means it is 11 time. This loop will be executed how many times? That is 11 time. It means if you consider that general value, that instead of 10, if I consider that n, so that loop will be executed n plus 1 time. It means, in short, we can say this loop is true for n time, and that for loop, this statement will be executed for n plus 1 time, and this will be executed for n time, right? So don't be confused here. If you see here, so I'll just tell you, and just run this program. Something is missing here. What it is saying? Oh, what happened here? Okay, so it is saying put something. Still I'll check it. Why? Oh, sorry, here that same, that double quote I forgot here. Okay, so now it will run, and if I run this, you can see here 0 to 9, that has been printed here. And if you put here that new line, and if I again execute it, see there, so 0 to 9, it has been printed. Now see what I'll do, I'll again print here value of I %d I. Now what would be the value of I here? For the understanding, I'll just what I'll do, I'll say this is 1 and this is equals to, so that we'll understand very easily. Now see, I initial value is 1 and it is I is less than or equals to 10. Now, as I said, this statement will be executed n plus 1 time. It means whatever is this value plus 1. So this statement will be executed for 11 times and this statement will be executed for 10 times. Getting this? So after executing this statement, that value of I would be 11. So as this is the outside of this for loop, so this is that value of this or output of this statement would be 11. So I'll just put here new line here so that you will understand. Now I'll just run it. You can see it is error free, and you can see here, sorry, you will get confusion. Actually this is the loop values, these are the loop values, and this is the this value, but I'll say here outside of for, right? Then you will understand here. This you can see here, these are the for loop values, and thus the statement is outside of for. Getting this? It means when that I becomes 11, so this condition will be checked, but this condition is not true, so this will exit from here, and whatever is the outside of body, that will be executed. Have you understood this? Now see, you can modify this one. Simple. What I will do, okay, suppose I just want to print the even or odd numbers. So how do I print here even or odd numbers? So see, as I have started from 1, so if I just change this value here, I plus plus means I am just incrementing it by 1. If I increment it by 2, so which value would be printed here? Suppose 2, right? So instead of 1, I am just printing here increment by 2. So you can see here 1, 3, 5, 9, sorry, 7 and 9. So all these are the odd values, we can say. So if you change this one, this increment, so that output will be changed. All these are the odd values from 1 to 10, we can say. And whatever is this one, this simple same value, that is 11. This will not be changed, right? So this is the outside of this for loop, so this value will not be changed, but these value will be changed. These are the inside of this for loop. And the other way is also there. Suppose instead of this one, if you want to simply put this increment sign here, and as I'm putting more than one statement in this for loop, so you can see here, if I mod 2 is equals to 0. What is the meaning of this statement? I equals to 2 equals to I mod 2 equals to 0. It means if that mod value is 0, it means when I just divide that I by 2, and if I get remainder as a 0, it means that is exact, that number is divisible by 2. So in that case, what I can put here, I can say simply %d as even number, right? You can see here, and I'll just put this one. You can save it and you can run it. You can see here 2 is even number, 4 is even number, this is even number or something. Or you can simply print the simply even number. So you need to remove this one, space this, so that will print it. You can see here 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10, all these are the even numbers. Getting this? So this is the simple for loop. When we'll see the examples, you will understand the syntax of this for loop and something, right? One more thing I just wanted to tell you here. See, I'll not do anything here, and simply if I put the semicolon, Now see, sometimes in GATE exam or somewhere they might ask such kind of questions, like if I put here semicolon and if I say whether it is error free or it is having some kind of error, so this example is error free. Why? Because as I said, when you put this semicolon, it means this is the termination of that statement, right? As this for loop, or this is the statement, and I am putting this semicolon at the end of this, it means this for loop is terminating here, right? And whatever is this statement, this is not inside of this for loop, this is the outside of this for loop, because I have just put or kept this semicolon, right? And already I just told you, if you put this semicolon, it means this is the termination of that statement. And if you put the opening and closing brace, so wherever is your closing brace, that is the termination of your statement. Previously we have seen here, if you see, so this one, so in this case this is the starting and this is the end. So we'll say, see, at the end of this for statement we have not written any semicolon, so that's why we need to put this opening and closing brace. So here this is the closing brace, so this is the end of this for statement, we can say. And if I remove this one and if I put here semicolon, it means this loop will execute, and whatever is the final value of I, that will be printed, and this would be the outside of for loop. So if I save it and if I run it, so we'll see here error free, so there is no error. So don't say if I put the semicolon and at the end of for loop, so it is having some kind of error. So the statement is completely false. If I put the semicolon, still that statement is correct, and this will not produce any kind of error. And if I run this, so we'll get that outside of for is 11. It means because of this semicolon, it is saying I equals to 1, and it is checking whether I is less than or equals to 10. So it is true. So there is no body for this for loop, so simply it will increment it by 1. Again that I becomes 2. Again it will check, this is true. Again it will increment. Again I becomes 3. So again this true condition is true. Again it will 4, 5, 6, 7, like this. So this statement is false for the 11. And whatever is the final value of that I, that will be printed over here, right? So this is the working of for loop. I'll just show you the different forms of the loops also. So if you see this forms of this loop, you can see here how do I write that for loop in different forms. So this is the normal form. You can see here I equals to 1, and whatever the statement I have just written here, that example, that same example I have taken here. Now second, you can see here what I did here in this. So I have written this initialization statement first, and inside of that for loop I have not written that initialization statement, but see, I have written this I equals to 0 outside of this for loop, before this for loop. So that's why you need to put the semicolon here. Semicolon means this is the statement, because we need to put that for loop in this format. Initialization we have written here, and that rest things are as it is. So this and this output would be same. Now next is what? Initialization I have written inside of this for loop, but whatever is the increment after this semicolon, I have written that increment. I need to put here semicolon. So I have written this I plus plus at the end of this body, we can say body of for loop. So again this form is correct. Next is what I have written, initialization before for loop and increment at the end of this body. Again this is true. Next, see, this is a 0. I think that's all. Next, whatever example I just explained you, I have written here semicolon. It means that only I value is getting incremented. It is not printing anything. That for is not having body. Simply that I value has been initialized to 0, and it is incrementing simply. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 something. So it will increment till n, right? So I need to initialize that n also here. Okay, this is the next form, and this is the decrement form, because we can increment or we can decrement. So here initial value of I is 10, and we are checking this condition I is greater than or greater than 0. Then you need to put this statement and then you need to decrement it, right? So these are the forms of for loop. So whenever we'll see the examples, you will understand these forms, because sometimes we need to increment or sometimes we need to decrement also. And if suppose that loop is been written in this format, if suppose someone asks you, they find out the output or something, and if they have written something like this, any form, so you need to know how to work this for loop and what would be the output also, right? So this is the simple for loop, right? We have seen the syntax and these forms, and we have seen that one example also. So any doubt in this for loop? If any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, I'll just move for the next part. Any doubt in this for? You can ask me. Otherwise, I'll just move for the next last part of this control statement, right? So any doubt in these three you can ask. Otherwise, I'll just move for the jumping statements. Any doubt? Okay. So then I'll just move for the jumping statements. So we have seen these two decision making statements, looping, and last part is the jumping statement that we'll see. So first one is the break statement, second one is the continue statement, and third one is the go to statement, right? So break statement already we have seen in the switch case. So here that break statement is mainly used to exit from the loop, right? So if you are using any kind of loop and you want to exit from that loop before just termination condition, then you can use the break statement. So that syntax is simply break. So I have written that statement here also, the break statement and the loop immediately when it is encountered, right? It means if that break statement is there, that loop will be exit before just termination condition. And normally this break statement is used in the if else or in the switch case. In switch case that is a mandatory. That switch case is again a form of, we can say, control statement, because only that the thing is in switch case that execute only once for the given choice, right? But the loops executes again and again till the termination condition, right? So there's simply that syntax is very simple. You need to put the break, right? And these are the also the working and the different forms, we can say. See here, if you are using the while, so while syntax that I have not written that complete syntax because we are focusing on the break. So inside of this while, if you put this break and that condition to break, and you need to put this, so it means after executing this break statement, this loop or this whatever is the control that will be exited from this while loop. Getting this? That arrow is been given here. If that break encountered, then this control will be exited from this while loop. This is one thing. Second thing is do while is again same. That same thing, condition to break. If this condition comes here, then again this will be exited from the do while. And same thing for the for loop. So if this condition comes, this condition to break, after this will be exited from the for statement, right? So these are the we can say forms. It means we can use in while, do while, and for also. Getting this? So one example I'll just tell you here. I'll not type it in the text pad and run it because the examples are simple. I'll just show you on the PPTs only. You can see here what I'm doing here. Simply I have written one for loop, and that loop is starting from 1 and ending to the 10, right? But what I am just doing here, what I have just written that condition, if I value becomes 3, then I have written here break statement. Getting? If it is not 3, then this statement will be executed. The value of I is whatever is that value, right? Now here, what we are doing here, so 1, then we are coming here, so 1 is not equals to 3, so it will exit and it will run this, so print that 1, then it will increment, so I becomes 2, again this is not equals to 3, so again this statement will be executed, that is 2, and again I will increment, and again this I becomes 3, so as I equals to 3, so it will execute this break statement, so here it will exit from this for loop, so whatever is this statement, this is the outside of this while loop, that will be executed. So what will be the output here? Value of I is 1, value of I is 2, and outside of this while loop, right? So this would be the output for this one. Getting this? Value of I is 1, value of I is 2, and outside of while loop, because I have just written that break statement, right? And the second form we have seen in the switch case also, when that specific case been executed, and when you write that break statement at the end of that case, so it will exit from that while loop, right? So that same working is here for this break also. You have understood this? Break is to exit from the loop, right? Now next is continue. So if you are having any kind of doubt in this, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'll just go for the continue. Anything? Okay. Now see what we did here in the break statement. When that break is coming, so we are exiting from that loop. But in continue, what we are doing here, see, continue statement skip the current iteration of the loop and continue with the next iteration. It means here we are not doing anything. If suppose that specific condition comes, so simply we are skipping that condition or skipping that iteration, and we are just going for the next step. Getting this? And again this will be executed in if else. So that with example you will understand here, that same thing, whatever we have written in the break, so for the while, do while, and for the for, right? So see this example, what we did here, that same example I have taken, instead of that break I have just written the continue. Now here I equals to 1, condition is true, so this is not true, so it will execute this. Again I2 for the value of 2, so again this will be executed, and when I becomes 3, so this will come here, and when I equals to 3, so this will not execute anything, or this will not do anything. This will simply skip this iteration, and it will go for the next value, so then I becomes 4. When I becomes 4, then again it will come here, so this is not equals 4 is not equals to 3, so it will execute here. It means this statement will be executed for the value of I 1, 2, not for the 3, 1, 2, then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, right? So only for the I equals to 3, so this statement will not be executed. For the rest value, this statement will be executed, and at the end this will be executed, because this is the outside of this for loop. Getting this? So this is the output here, right? You can see here value of I is 1, value of I is 2, but value of I is not 3 here, simply 4 is there, because we have skipped that value of I 3, right? So that output is 1, 2, 4, 3 is not there, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and at the end we have just written that outside of while loop. Have you understood this? So actually this is very simple. So break and continue, these two we can use break is to exit from the loop, and continue is to skip that particular condition only. Rest things are the same. Getting this? So this is break and continue, right? Anything? Any doubt here? I am not taking the hands-on example here because this is the very simple, and I need to complete this the jump also. Okay, okay. I'll just go for the next one for the jam. Now see, this is the jam. Sorry, go to, right? So go to is also jumping statement. So go to statement allows us to transfer the control of a program to a specified label. Now see, sometimes what we need to do, we need to jump from one statement to particular statement in your program. Actually, this use of that go to is not good in this C programming, because this is somewhat confusing, right? And if you are using that go to statement in your program, so that is not considered as a good programming. So simply for the sake of continuation, I am just taking this go to statement. But in your program, don't use this go to. The alternative options are also there, and these are the good options, right? But I'll just complete this. That go to, you need to know what is the go to statement and how we use that go to statement in your C programming, right? So here, this is the syntax. Go to is the keyword, and this is a label, right? So label is required here because we need to jump to that particular label. Here label, go to label, it means we are jumping from here to here. So that label one is also written here. So after this statement, we need to jump here and it will be executed here. So you need to understand here, go to label. After this, we have written this semicolon. And whenever we have written this label, so this is not the semicolon, this is the colon, right? I think you have this idea in your Python programming, because after the for loop, while loop, or if you are using that if else something, so there we need to put that colon. So it means that is the body of that statement in Python programming, right? So here we need to write semicolon, go to label, and here this is the colon. Getting this? So I'll just tell you one simple example, and I'll just show you that also on the text editor. You can see this is the one simple example I have written here. What I did, I have taken one n now variable, and I have assigned that 10 to that n variable, and I need to find out whether this n value is even or odd, right? So logic for the even and odd, that you know. Only I am focusing here for the go to statement. See here, what I did, if n mod 2 equals to 0, it means this is for the even number, this condition. But instead of printing that even number here, what I use here, I've used that go to statement. So here, this go to is the keyword, and this even is the label. Getting this? And second one, this is again a keyword, and this is a odd is the label. It means here, if your control is coming here, so you need to jump from this statement to this statement. If your control is coming here, so you need to jump from here to here. So that jumping is depend on this n value, right? So if you see here, for this is the output here. But what I'll do, I'll just copy this here from this, and I'll just paste over here, right? And I'll just run this. You can see, right? And value is 10. So I'll just compile this first, and I'll just run it. You can see here what happens here. The 10 is even number and 10 is odd number. Both is been executed here, because if you put here, I'll tell you what will happen here. Happen. Oh. Actually, that problem is what if I copy this from that PPT. So some other things are also copying here, and you can see here 10 is a even number, right? So as I have just used that n value is 10, so it is checking this condition and it is going to this label, so it is jumping from here and it is coming here. So 10 is a even number. If I say this 11, right, and if I run it, you can see 11 is a odd number because this condition becomes false, so it is coming to this label, that odd label, and it jumping from here to here, right? So directly it is jumping here. But see, as I said, that use of this goto statement is not good in the C programming. So it's better to have the other option. So that next option, that is best option, is the function, right? So if you are using function, if you don't have that idea about the function, then in that case you can use this goto statement or something. But if you learn that function concept, then instead of this goto, you can use the function, and one more is there, that is a macro is also there, that also we can use instead of this one. Getting this? Function and macros. I'll just again tell you when I just come to that function and macros, what is the difference between function and macros also, right? But here at this moment you need to know that go to statement is for the jumping to that particular label, right? Break statement is to exit from that current loop, and continue is to skip the current iteration, right? So I think these three we have seen: break, continue, and go to. And also we have seen that the loop, that is a for loop, right? So any doubt into this? Anything? Because if you understood these concept, or we'll say this control statements, then and then you will understand the next concept, because whatever is this control statement, this is mainly that used for the logic development. Whatever we are taking hereafter, so that is kind of only the syntax, right? Because we'll go for the structure, we'll go for the array, we'll go for the function. So these are only the syntax oriented, we can say. But that whatever is the control statement, this is only for the logic development, right? If you understood this, the loops or whatever is the control statement concept, then you can write your logic, or you can create your logic, or whatever is there, that logic, for that you can understand at least that logic if you understood these control statements. So if you are having any kind of the query in all if else, switch case, conditional statements, loops, and the jumping statements, you can ask me. I'll give you 5 minutes. You can ask if you are having any kind of query, any query. And see, same thing here also, you can ask if you are having any doubt in your lab also. So that also you can ask me. Instead of posting the your not doubt, I can say, but how to submit assignments, what should I do about the output and something. So here you can ask me, any one person can ask me, so that I can clear your uh, doubts also about the lab and about this whatever I'm just taking here. So that you can ask me here. See, for the submission, I am not putting any kind of restriction from your side. What is expected, you type your program, run it, and whatever is output, take the screenshot of that, and you can prepare one PDF file in that your code and whatever is your screenshot, that you just add up there, create a single file, and you just submit that single file, right? Only keep in your mind, whenever you are going for the submission, at the header you need to write your name, your MIS number, your branch, and your title also, title of your program, right? So these three things are expected at the top, and then your program, and then your output, right? So these things are expected, not necessary to submit the multiple files or something. I have just given the choice of 2 files, but still my suggestion is only go for the single file. And whatever is your testing, whenever I'll just go for the oral, I'll ask you some questions, and based on that I'll understand whether you have implemented that program or you just simply copied that program, right? So if you are having any kind of doubt, you just ask me, please. Any doubt? And tomorrow I'll just start with the most important part of the C programming. But till here, as I said, that logic development is there, and whatever is the next coming part, that is a function, array, string, or something. So these are only the syntactic, you can say, right? So no doubt, no query. If you are having anything, please ask me. Otherwise, I'll just